Hello, everyone. My name is Alexander Ermenkov. I'm a ruling reality coach. And today, on the 27th of July, 2023, I'm going to continue my series, Daily Reality with Alex. During this period of 2023, I'm just expressing myself with many different concepts regarding reality, how we are to ruin reality, and why reality is working only the way it is working, and how all the other ways we are trying to push through reality, or we are trying to interact and communicate with reality, are actually in the long run not working. And today is a very special topic for me because it is going to answer for all of you. And for me, it was a big and huge starting point that really launched me forward into understanding reality. And of course, once you start understanding reality, it's much more easy to go into the interaction journey with reality. Today, I would like to express whatever I have learned and a lot of new and interesting concepts regarding the reality of brokenness. It is a very important concept because it is giving us first a starting point, then our lowest point possible, where we are seldom for some of us more often, and for some of us it's a normal part of life to go deep down into this brokenness mode. Is it good or bad? Everything in reality has its purpose. So once we realize to accept everything as it is much more easy to start grasping why reality is the way it is. And for me, all this type of concepts started with putting all my thoughts into a small booklet that I have uploaded into my webpage, and I'm going to share my screen just so that you can see what it's all about. And of course, later you're going to decide if you are willing or not to download this book. If you go into my webpage, alexanderermenkov.com, under books, you are going to see the electronic booklet that is giving the fundamentals of why I'm doing what I'm doing. And my idea is not just to write you the next book, but just to give you how these fundamentals are changing me. And you just go there, you just put the download link. It doesn't ask anything out of you. I don't need your emails. You just go download it and read it. So the idea of the book is to review before all of us the unanswered questions of humanity and why there are so many paradoxes of life that I have long-term called the building blocks of reality. And basically, everything starts with understanding the life paradox. Then I'm going forward into answering the question of who I am, because there are three questions we don't know the answers to. We don't know who we are. We don't know what we are. We don't know where are we coming from. We don't know where are we going. And if we go into this direction, there is so many things that we don't know. And it is made for a purpose. Because reality and life and humans are always going to give us ready answers. But if we are really seekers, if we are after the real, after the truth, it is a possibility for all of us to open ourselves towards seeing and envisioning what really is happening and why everything is working the way it is working. So the who I am paradox, I'm answering here, how I live paradox. What is the meaning of experience? Why we are having experience? There is so much we can go into there. Of course, then the cycles, the time paradox, present, future, the final destination, why there is this movement going on with all of us, the human beings, why we feel that we are in a journey, why we feel that we have a destination. This is a very small part, and it is very basic knowledge. And of course, it is not a lot of pages. It's only 11 pages. I'm going to work more with this book during the summer, and I'm going to share more about all these principles I have put only 2 years ago in order to start making the foundation of what really fascinates me and interests me. So I'm going exactly not to why creator exists, but to the paradox of the universal fixer and savior. This is part of basically the Christian way of thinking, and I have been a Christian from 17-year-old, and I have done so many things subconsciously, and I didn't realize why a lot of things are working for me. And then I have put some of my thoughts. You can go through them and see what I have put into this book. But today I'm just going to present to you some of the things that are very important regarding the brokenness mode. Because the problem with all of us is that we are starting from the wrong starting point. We think that in reality, the starting point is that we are good, we are perfect, we are the one, and we are everything, and we are connected with everything, and we are starting this life with the awareness of perfection. Though from the moments of our early ages of awareness, we know that reality is actually the opposite. We understand from very small beings, and that's why it affects us so much in the first 7 to 8, 9 years before we start becoming an individualized awareness type of being about our reality existence. And before this, what is happening is that we start to see, because of all the other things that are happening around us, about all our shortcomings. And if we realize that there is nothing wrong with starting from position 0, being 100% broken in reality, there is nothing wrong with understanding that a lot of things in reality are actually broken. But Alex, I thought that we are into a perfection mode, that we are after absolute, we are after so many things, and humanity is actually constantly evolving, and we as human beings have the obligation to constantly evolve into our better selves, and we to become the better selves of our whatever possibility and potential we have. This is a very good type of idea if we had or a positioning of starting point that was neutral, or a starting point of positioning which was coming from the absolute perfection. But the reality for the human race is that in our stage of the experience, all of us are coming from position ground 0, which is the position of 100% brokenness. And only when we are able to acknowledge this in our personal reality, that this starting point is actually nothing bad, that we are to be ashamed of, because reality has created everything that we are experiencing for a purpose. And the big purpose for all of us is not only to realize that we have the brokenness put inside of all of us, but also to realize that there is a necessity and there is an existence of a universal fixer that is there for us in the outside reality and is able paradoxically to work within us and through us from the inside out. And of course, for me, it was very easy because I was going in this exoteric type of religious thinking, and I was going through a lot of experiences where I was outsourcing a lot of things to the so-called Savior, the Anointed One, Jesus Christ, and so on. But I didn't realize the big idea. The big idea behind Christianity is all the human beings to decide which is their initial positioning. Are we actually starting from a positioning of perfection and we're just moving forward? Or are we starting from a ground zero where from a total brokenness, we are to find not within ourselves, not alone, not by trying to go through our own personal self-development and stay only in our inside energy, but to open ourselves towards what the reality has already provided for all of us. And that's why maybe when I was 17 years old, it was on the 3rd of March when I became a Christian because of a story that happened with me in the weekend before. And I was in the Saturday night in a totally drunken state. I prayed a prayer because I was so afraid about my life. And then on the Sunday morning, I went to a church just to give my tribute that something maybe helped me and so on to survive the night. And then I opened myself towards the existence of God and towards the existence of a necessity of a universal fixer. And from this moment forward, there is a battle going on within me. Am I going to use what is possible in order to perfect more and more of who I am? Or am I going to stay in the brokenness mode where I, as human being, am understanding that without the power from above, without the existence of the external savior and universal fixer, it is impossible in this reality things to go forward as they are planned to go. And in order to enter for all of us the next age, not stage, but the next age of existence and experience, the only ones that are going to be allowed to enter this new age of existence are the ones that are to be founded worthy for the next stage in the previous one. And in the previous one, we are in this now moment of existence where we are living in a reality that is little by little going to be transformed into something totally different. That's why when we go into the perspective of time, we are to think not for 1,000 years, not for million years, but for different type of experience, ages surrounding outside reality and different configuration and activities of the macrocosmos type of forces, as well as the microcosmos internal interaction with the outside reality. I'm not going to go into all this type of quantum theory of explanations. or in all the type of philosophies which are actually dividing into two urges that are stimulated into the reality of the human experience in the moment. And the one stream is moving us all towards self-perfection, self-development, and being alone into a journey of creating a better, more beautiful world outside, and without the existence of help from above, from the outside. And we are just trying to exploit this reality that is already doomed to come to its closeness and conclusion. And we think that we can revive what is already not possible, because the fundamental existence is the existence of brokenness. And it is a very powerful principle, because only then it is okay for all of us to accept the existence of non-perfection. None of us is perfect. None of us can fix itself or myself. And it is very important, because when we try to communicate with each other, successfulness, perfectness, better self, more and more perfections, and so on, and we are trying to go into this stream where we are trying to extract as much as possible interactional energy that is going to revive something that is destined to decay, we are going against the universal stream of what is actually happening in reality. And yes, we have a destiny as human beings in the existence of the now age, and it is much more different than what we think with our micro thoughtfulness experience of the so small existence of only considering our own personal experience and life. And that's why, for me, this principle of brokenness is creating the real freedom where we know the ground zero. And now I'm just going to share with you one very interesting story that is giving me the freedom of brokenness. I remember when I was arguing for something with my daughter, and she said, well, you are very confident, you are very secure, because of course you are rich, you have a lot, you have already made some successes, and it is very easy now for you as a human being just to share with other people whatever thoughts you want, because you already have some validations in the reality. But what is going to happen with you, my dear father, if 1 minute from now you have lost everything and you're totally broken? Well, if I have already accepted the moment of brokenness, if I have already accepted the moment of non-existence and experiencing the deadness, if I know that every second from now on, I can be no more into this experience, then I will never be afraid of being broke, because this is not what life is for. All of us have the same fundamental start of brokenness. I don't care how rich, successful, mighty, influential some of us are, all of us have the same base, starting point, that instead of trying to fight and move away from, it is better to be grounded, sustained, and stay within this place of brokenness. That's why the brokenness principle is giving so much power, because even the smallest failure of trial is a huge success compared with the brokenness and flatness of the start of each one of us. Yes, but Alex, we understand that for you it's very easy now to speak about things that maybe you will never experience, because we all know that all the people that are rich and successful, they have a specific mindset and they know how to work and to deal with reality, and they know how to manifest into the physical materiality, and they will never come into this brokenness of material existence where they're so down that they cannot put their head up. And maybe it is a true, and that's why for those of us who know what richness is, who know what success is, it's even more important to go deep down in the starting point of the brokenness and to never forget what is the starting point of all of us that are existing. And then it's very easy for each one of us. It doesn't matter what type of stages of existence and experience we are in the material reality. We are to support each other because we know what is the broken state. And then, of course, when we see some of us staying in this broken stage and trying to constantly polish ourselves and trying to say, well, I'm sure that if I put enough efforts, I'm going to be so much better than my previous version, than the other one, than those there, and so on and so on. And we are going into the chasing of comparison mode. But there is no necessity for comparison when we know that the broken stage is what is actually helping us to realize the escape door out of this age towards the other. Because it doesn't matter how much we are trying, we will be in stages where we are opening destructive modes. And when we open the modes of destruction, because we are allowed to exist into an imperfection with the purpose of understanding why we are to move forward towards seeking for this universal helper. But of course, this is something that all of us can decide. Some of us can, all of their experience, try to do it themselves. We can put all our efforts and energy into sustaining something that is doomed, or we can allow ourselves to enter the resurrectional, transformational mode of existence. And I'm going to share with you now another story that really imprinted into myself why this brokenness mode and why this brokenness mindset is so important for all of us. I was speaking in Zoom with some a friend. We are speaking frequently, and he was just explaining me about his enlightenment and spirituality journeys and so on and so on. And he went to such deepness into the shadow experience that he was bothered a little bit about what consequences he has made in some of all of his previous lives that are maybe now affecting his nowadays life because of the cause and effect principle. And then I came to the conclusion that basically once we trespass, only once, if we are allowing to try something that is not according to the order, is not according to the absolute, only once, if we open ourselves to the deviations of the simulacrum, this door can never be closed. And that's why all of us can never be in this experience into the perfection mode of existence, where we are able and know how to resist and not to enter into deviations. And this is important because for those of us that believe that there is no existence after stopping this experience, reality is not possible to allow for all of us on a daily basis to have such a power of collapse of the waves and such a power to be able to transform or to manifest something into the real reality, which is 100% living and transforming and transcending and going from stage to stage, and everything that through our will we are putting into this reality as an action, even a single action, is forever recorded and forever affecting all of us. It is affecting the wholeness. What I'm doing today is affecting the wholeness of all reality for all the existences that have been, are, and are going to be, in all the simulacrums and all the variations that are. And how powerful and therefore we can be in order to know that any action we are doing is timeless and will forever have its effect. And then when we don't like something, when we are not satisfied with what we have seeded or produced, it doesn't matter if we have been enticed, if we have been tempted, if we have been listening to something that was not supposed to be listened, or long term we have learned our lessons. Anyhow, all the small things that the human beings are doing are subject to accountancy. And that's why the sacrificial type of thinking throughout all humanity was there. Sacrifices of bodies, primarily of animals, were required for the smallest trespasses. It doesn't matter how all the laws, all the religions, all the different moral laws have been created. The problem with the human being is that we are willing to be close as possible, or even to experience and to express the absolutes and the perfect laws of existence, where the cause and effect principle is in 100% harmony between the oneness and the wholeness, between the subjective and the objective, between the inner world and the outer world, between the microcosmos and the macrocosmos. But the problem appears the moment a trespass is felt. And that's why the human beings realized that there is an exchange of sacrifice in necessity, in order at least a little bit to slow down the processes of decay that are happening because of the deviation of the absolute. And of course, so many types of religions, rituals, philosophical type of mindset constructs has arrived in order to explain or to rename or to label things with different type of values from what reality has named them already to be and weighted them of the value they are to have. And this is why, because of the law of the cause and effect, brokenness is coming into existence from the very small moment when we are trespassing whatever absolutes we are trying to reach. And for all of us, it is a normal reality. For me personally, it is normal to trespass. It is normal to fail. It is normal to know that it is not possible by the strength of the human being and existence only to move forward and to go towards what is the absolute existence of perfectness that have been meant for a human being. And anyhow, instead of trying to blame, instead of trying to explain, instead of trying to find different ways, it is better to look after and to see what reality has already provided within itself as a principle of the universal fixer in order to be transformed and to become worthy with some part of it to enter the next age of existence. That's why, as a Christian, many times when I was asked, okay, what exactly is this archetype of the Christ, of the Savior, of the Messiah? What are we saved actually from? And the simple answer is that we are not saved from, but we are in a position to be translated to enter a new stage of existence, long-term but short-term, to understand this duality principle and to know that it is not possible for the human race, because of its brokenness, to free itself up into the next stage of existence. I very well know and understand, because I'm constantly into this reality and I see all the streams that are constantly trying to give us the hopium that it is possible for us as human beings to be as perfect as possible, to create our utopia and to really be able to sustain the age that is now, to exploit it as much as possible and to be able to enhance it for the next generations of newcomers. And of course, my focal point and my focus is in a total another direction. I prefer to surrender. I prefer to know the stage of brokenness and the mode of brokenness. I prefer to enter total acceptance of what is. I prefer to see reality as it is, with all its brokenness, with all the bad things that we don't like to talk about, because we are 100% and constantly put into focusing only on the positive, while everything that we are labeling as negative is 100% and constantly working with us, through us, and amongst us also. And that's why I was just willing to express how I'm always enjoying the ground zero principle of the starting point of brokenness. Because if we accept the starting point that we have lost heaven, that we are to do everything possible to come back to where we were to be existing, that we are worthy for something more that now we don't have. And we are going to put all our effort, strength, power, might to reach these new heights as a human beings. There is a lot of energy in this stream of existence, but this is the energy of the old age. While there is a new transforming resurrectional energy that is able to prepare us now and to make us worthy for the age to come. Because it's not up to us to construct reality. We can only observe it, we can only recognize it, we can only choose to see and to accept what we see. Or, of course, if we want to go into the stream of the human race perfectedness, we can. And I personally will not put my energy and my efforts into becoming a better version of myself, into creating a better humanity for all of us now, here. Of course, I'm putting my energy towards the common good. But what is the common good for all of us now? Is it the World Economic Forum? Is it what the elites are preparing for us? Is it the Agenda 2030, 2040, or 2050? Is it what they are preparing as a conceptual, as a prison type of mindset existence into the next ages to come? For sure, I prefer to stay into the ruling of my own personal reality, storytelling, game, existence, and to be able to forwardly express and understand why I am in a necessity of understanding the universal fixer principle that through a lot of religions we can label, especially the three religions, the Abrahamic religions, we are labeling it as Messiah, as Jesus Christ, different names, and we are expecting things to happen from the outside in. But meanwhile, we are to understand the much more broader principle of why we are choosing or the human beings to continue trying to slow the decay and the brokenness of everything that is happening now with us as human beings. And of course, some of us are going to be rejected because of this, because we are not willing to give our energy towards a lost cause, towards a lost goal, towards a future humanity that looks like more utopian, more perfect, more predictable, more organized, and with less human spirit, with less human soul, with less authenticity, and with so much fakeness and lack of freedom. Because in the real freedom principle, I am allowed to be broken. I am allowed to not be perfect. I am allowed to not go after what we are pushed towards. And of course, you can go into my book, you can research it, you can ask me questions all the time, you can follow me on YouTube and Facebook. And from time to time, I'm trying, at least for the future, to enter into a mode where I'm doing monthly webinars about different topics that are able to really create from us successful beings where each of our move is really making eternal impact for all of us in the right directions. So thank you for watching today. Enjoy your reality. Find out your existence of brokenness. And instead of mourning that you are the only one, just remember, aha, Alex told me, all of us are there. All of us have always been there. And the only thing we can do is to look forward for the existence and to realize and to grasp the archetype of the universal fixer. Thank you for watching. Once again, enjoy your daily experience and be as much as possible practical into the interaction with your own personal reality as it is. Bye-bye.